My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. So this is actually my little speaker that I wear when I'm doing when I'm on the radio talking on the Alpha team with a few other Phil and Dan who are actually really good. That's where we trade all day long live. Most guys that trade real time for a living, that's where they live. Those of you who like to have an active plan and my game plan on paper and a video and charts, that's what you guys tune in for. Some people do a little bit of everything. But the reason why I can do all these things is because I do all those things. If I didn't, do a morning, if I didn't put together a morning note, 40 charts, do a 6:30 club, do a morning video, and then get on a radio and then stay in tuned, I would not be able to handle all this. So that's my job, to be a Chief Strategic Officer for you, and then for you to learn what you could handle and what you could do and what process and plan you want to have in place in order to make money depending on your skill set, your risk, and everything else. So anyway, here's a chart of the SPYs. Some people are pissed. They must be very short. Some people are happy. They might be riding the trend. Some people are like, in the middle. Hopefully everyone's in the middle. Sometimes you can be good, you're happy on a good day. You don't want to get too happy because you know what happens. And sometimes on a bad day, you don't want to be too hard on yourself. You just want to be objective. And every time I look back and show the chart of the SPYs and the active sequence, I just try and get everyone to kind of learn how you switch gears fast from a lot of positions to less positions to tactical, and a little positions to a little bit of confidence to more positions, and then you use your tier system and find setups. So anyway, here's the SPYs. We were definitely a little frustrated, in this area. And then it took from September 3rd, about 6 weeks of kind of frustration, little trades here and there, a little bit of paper cuts, this and that, till finally, after enough people were kind of upset, you had your red dog reversal, which was a spot to buy some leaders. And then you had your gap up that didn't get filled, a pro gap that showed power, that took back the moving averages, and that was your invitation to say, hey, I need to be a little bit more opportunistic than playing big defense. And here we were playing big defense below the moving averages. But anyway, lo and behold, this is where we are now. So the SPYs went from 432 to 465. So that's, without catching the bottom, this was whatever it was, 33 handles to the upside above the 8-day. I think I was only long the SPYs until about here, and then I got short some, and then I covered some, and then I, don't know exactly how I navigated them, but I think I navigated my hedge a little bit better than the last two active sequences where my hedge cost me too much money. Getting too overly big and then taking away from a lot of the positions that I have. Oh, some guys are asking me to post a VTF, which you guys should have had already, which is the alpha. Yeah, so a lot of things going on in here. Some things I didn't need to get rid of. Some things I got rid of when the market pulled back at lunchtime when I left. Some things I've been in for weeks. Some things I have small left. Some things are new. Some things I have, options around that I'm like a covered call strategy, or some things I have, some short option strategies. I have a lot of things going on here. And I explain most of them in my note and in the charts. So anyway, we are a little extended. Okay, here's the 8-day. And, we could be down tomorrow and go green. We could be up tomorrow to trim some strength and put on a few more hedges, or we can get a real reversal that everyone's saying be careful, because the day after the Fed sometimes is a little tricky. Sometimes it's the counter trend of a big move, or sometimes not. So we don't know. So I have a bunch of everything going on. How am I hedged? Well, I'm long the SPYs, but I'm short the 463s and 464s, and we closed right here at 464. So I'm probably flat on those because I sold those for $1.50 more. So I'm keeping the premium. That was my way to hedge, the 20 plus positions that I've had that I'm in comfortably trading around. But anyway, that's that. Qs still moving along. Can't get upset here with the Qs. I haven't really done anything with them except for I'm long various different types of tech depending on the day. But overall, it's been riding the 8-day. We're long tech in sectors that are above the 8-day. I did put on a very big IWM call spread, which we focused on, and we literally, so a few times we lost. Yeah. A few times we definitely lost doing this. Probably tried it here and lost. Probably tried it here and lost. And now this time, it had a clean move. where I'm in still a call spread that goes out till Thanksgiving. So hopefully this continues, and then at some point they just take the calls that I'm long and give them to the calls that I'm short, and I maximize it. I think it was $1 to make 4. That's right here. That is IWM 235s, and I sold the 240s for 11.26, and I didn't know we would get there that fast, but now they stay here and trade around it. So I figured, hey, maybe I could short the 240s when it was a 237, because people are like, oh, how come you're not hedged going into, or more hedged going into the Fed? I'm like, it probably should be. So anyway, IWM went to as high as almost 240 and pulled in a little bit. So, I'm short the 240s for this Friday. So maybe even pulls in, comes back. I don't know. I feel like I'm okay with that. But then I just need it to continue this trend to what I think the measured move is, which is, somewhere around, I said, 245. And then we make a lot of money there. XBI also, there was a nice setup strategy. This is what we listed last week before. Remember, I have my guys, I was talking to my friend, he's a big bio guy. Last week, the ASH conference is the 4th. I totally forgot. Like everyone out there probably forgot. That's when all the small companies, put their posters or whatever they call it. I don't know what Jose calls it. Some kind of sheet. Hold on, what did they put in there? It's some kind of sheet. It's an abstract. They put in abstracts. So with that being said, people who forget that there are awesome small cap buyers that are trying to cure cancer because cancer sucks. Let's get ahead of it and buy 2 call spreads. So those are the 2 call spreads. I actually have 3 call spreads now. I had the shorter term ones, the 11.27, the 11.12s, which are next Friday. By 11. Was it by 11.33? No, it was 11.27 by 11.30. So, I put a big one on. I'm like, that should have worked. So, spent like 70 cents to make 2.30, and then went out a little further, saying, the ASH is in December. I looked at the chart, it went all the way there, and then it went so fast. I'm like, let me buy these yesterday, and then we went so far today. I'm like, let me sell those here. So I'm trying to fund my call spreads by the market action. Where could it go? It can go to 130. And a lot of guys, saw me put MBIO, which is just the only small cap buyer I have, back on the VTF because it finally did something worthy of the VTF besides a long-term trade. And what did it do? It had a wide range bar, and then it held it, and now it looks as if it's acting better. I personally think they're going to beat ASH. A lot of people don't, because they're like, oh, look how bad it's been trading. It must not have got submitted to ASH. And I'm like, all small cap buyers have been acting horrible. I think it gets in there, and if it gets in there, maybe there's a nice pop. Last November, just like the other bios, put its low in, if you remember here, put its low in, what was that? November, right around the same time, November 9th, and then it ran from, 2 to almost 4. And then it ran to, where, when the real ASH. But anyway, that's that. But the XBI, which is all of them, I looked, I'm like, wow, yeah, November 2nd was the bottom in 2020, and look at the size of the move into December, and then even higher. So anyway, it wound up being a nice situation. I think a lot of people made a lot of money, something that I haven't done in a while with these sectors. The banks, I'm not sure what to expect here. They have a nice little bull flag. I am long some XLF. I don't have a call strategy on it. I actually got stopped out of my Morgan and my Goldman today because it was a little too tight. We'll see what happens here if all of a sudden, people are arguing about the Fed. What were they? Were they, in line to hawkish, in line to dovish? I really don't know. All I know is that they're going to start the tapering process, and it seems like they're going to be data dependent, meaning if inflation runs through the goddamn roof, they're going to taper more than 15 billion. If all of a sudden demand, shows that it's not happening and people aren't going, then they'll stay the course and maybe reduce it from 15 billion in reduction to only 10 billion. So they're being flexible here. So the bottom line, if the stock market gets super duper hot, chances are, they're going to try and cool it off at some point. And if all of a sudden we're in a corrective phase, down 5% off highs, they'll probably, whatever they do, they'll reduce the pace of purchase. So that's that. Either which way, we have it behind us, and now we'll see what happens tomorrow. I would still continue to have this barbell approach with positions you like, using your tier system, also having some hedges, and also using some options and figuring it all out. That's what I would say. that a good thing to say, Brandon?
I think so.
All right. What's acting best? Tesla. Wow. Went again. I actually got long towards the end of the day. I covered most of the calls that I had sold, so I'm not really feeling like I'm in jeopardy of some kind of big squeeze with the way it's elevated here, but it closed well. It's above the 8-day. I had to take some. The first set of calls that I'm short are the 1300s. So if Tesla goes to 1300 between now and Friday's close, I'll make a lot on the stock. If it doesn't, I'll trade around it, and I'll keep the premiums on the 1325s and 1350s. So that's the story there. Very impressive. Lots of money to be made there, especially buying dips, not trying to short the stock. Microsoft still hard to buy, but hanging out in there and going. There's no real setup here. It's just trending higher. So congrats if you've just been sitting in it, massaging it. There was actually a good short off the open. Off the open, I'm like, I think you could short Microsoft and short NVIDIA. The difference between a cute short and a real short is a cute short, you better take your money because you're being cute. You're going against the trend. So it was a cute short, and then it turned into a buy the dip. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, well, here you go. This is the intraday. It opened up in the morning and fell down about $2. So that was nice, fast money. And lower high, and then continued down. And then it worked all its way back up. NVIDIA kind of did the same thing. So there's a difference between a cash flow, cute, active short versus really trying to make money in the real overall trend. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's Microsoft. Very impressive. Google, what'd you do today? Now it looks a lot more actively bullish than sloppy, right? It felt a little sloppy on this day. Now it's kind of hanging in here. Some guys are long versus pivot, which is 28.64. Some are waiting for it to get above 29.73. I haven't been trading Google. I'm not going to lie. I'm just giving you guys my opinion on it because some of you guys have been making a living buying Google and riding the trend and using your tier system. So that's what I'm here to do, is give you what I'm thinking there. Looks good. Chosen one. Netflix. A lot of guys bought a dip here, and this looks like another bull flag. Wow, look at that. I haven't been really focusing on Netflix. I've been focusing on Tesla and a lot of the small caps that have been acting well within the IWM because I could see the volume and I like to buy the shares, and for some reason it feels more control. I feel more control there. But this above the 8-day acts well. I did buy Apple, I think Monday, and Apple actually looks more constructive now. They have a big buyback, nice dividend. Hopefully we're through peak supply constraints, and now it's above the moving averages and looking like it can get back to all-time highs. I'm not going to overtrade it. I'm not going to get in too much, but let it make me some cash flow. So we'll see. So far, so good. Amazon, some guys bought today. It's got a nice candle today. If there ever a time to say, hey, I want to try Amazon again, this kind of candle is a decent candle. Now you'll see if it breaks above this, wedge type pattern and gets better. It's still in this huge, channel, and it's definitely been very, very, what's the word? Frustrating. What's this high here? 33.94, so we don't need 33.70. And then you'll see what happens. If it goes to the upside, guys were asking me what to do. I was going to short the 32.80s for like $2-3. But I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be, I don't want to be bothered with that. CRM, just sitting in 2 big call spreads. Some guys are actively trading it. I needed to close above 300 to get max payment prior to earnings, which, what date is that? That's 11/19. It's 11/3, so I have to wait for 2 more weeks. But as the weeks go by, they'll probably suck some premium out. I might just take it off and lose a little bit just to get it done, and then I have the other one for post earnings. Maybe I'll, but so far so good. We bought that down here. A lot of guys made good money there. On the Tesla kind of offshoots, I'm still in Lucid. I didn't come in long today. I bought it the dip, and it worked out pretty well. So now I guess move this down here and see, what does it do? Rebuild and maybe head back towards 41. But I would definitely take some trades there. FSR had earnings, so I had to get out of the way. But at least they let me sell some strength. We were in this thing from down here. Had earnings. I don't know what it did. Let's see what did it do. Not a whole lot, but you know, hanging around. Triple D gave us a way to navigate the trade. Nothing so great, but you know, bought it on this day. You're able to buy a dip, add to some, sell to some, and now just hang out. Some of the some of the what's it called, the EV, not the EV, the clean energy names need time. Like plug needs time. Had a big move from this lower area and hit 42.95, and now it needs the 8 day to catch up before it goes. Same way now. I'm still in FSL because it's easier to handle, but you know the 8 day is kind of catching up here also. So giving it some room. If you buy size down here and sell into a day 3 or day 4, you don't mind giving it some room. Any news on Tesla after hours? Where did it close? Close at 12:13. All right, this is now like $10 after hours. Just went up so damn quick. Anyway, let's continue. Small cap land. Oh, AI was a nice trade today. Poked its head up. So we'll see what happens if this day 1 leads into a day 2. Nice move. Maybe it wants to work up towards here. I'm still in it. I was testing that a little bit in here, and then finally it showed some nice volume and went. This was pretty good too. I made a nice amount of money in DM. You know, DM, you know, was as high as 34 and 15, and then it had a wide range bar, and then an inside day, and then continued. Not so bad, right? Bought it on this day, added a little bit there, trimmed some, and wound up being a good day. Maybe there's some room up to there, but you know, you got to be careful. But it seems like there should be some room. These things are acting pretty well. Oh, I'm on the microphone. You didn't tell me I'm on the microphone.
I was under the impression.
Oh, it's all right. Well, let me finish now. So, guys, this is the recap that I do for, you know, Redler All Access, or Redler Report. So I go through all the charts and, you know, and talk about the day, but they don't get to see what we do all day, you know, real time, because they're not on the alpha team with you guys, and they don't get to hear what you guys all have to say. And sometimes what you have to say is better than what I have to say. So anyway, Tilray, what do I think? It's trying. I have options. I'm not playing the stock. It's a ticking machine. I don't trust the cannabis names, but just in case they get better, I figure not so bad, you know, to have some on. It's more of a January effect type of play in my head, you know. Let's see what's on here. MTTR came out with earnings. I think it was down a little bit after hours, which is, you know, it goes to show you why we don't take stock into earnings. You know, maybe there's a play there tomorrow. Some guys played it after hours, not me. What else we have going on here? GM I bought just because, you know, Ford has been so good. You know, and this is way off the highs, and I just think they had some production issues, and people want a little bit of value. It's just a way to kind of play a little bit of both. You know, Tesla, Ford, GM. Ford, look at this, very impressive. You know, I remember when guys were laughing at me when I started playing Ford down here. These were the charts down here that I was using. It was at $7. When my friend's like, hey, you should take a look at the Ford Bronco. It's gonna maybe go against the Jeep or the Cybertruck. And I'm like, sure it will. And I looked at it, I was like, why not try a little bit? Anyway, not looking forward. So I'm just thinking maybe GM, plays a little catch up or something. Don't have a whole lot, but looks kind of decent. Crypto. Crypto's been absolutely fantastic. I started crypto as an education process because I've been talking about it for 2 years before December, and I didn't want to be the guy on TV just talking about an asset class and not trading it, not knowing it and feeling it, and being the guy who just talks and talks and thinks he knows it all but doesn't trade, because we know how many of those are out there. So anyway, you guys know the story. I took 20 grand out of my Chase account, put it in my Coinbase account, which my wife was not happy about, but I am in charge. No, don't let her hear that. And P.S. It's a year later. I've been navigating Bitcoin technically and Ethereum, and it turned into like 6 or 7 or 10, now 12 altcoins. I've learned so much about it, just by Brandon and Brandon's dad. And then the guy that actually transferred the money over for me was working at Chase, and he actually went from working for Chase to just going into crypto, and he develops NFTs, and he's developing games, and he's like boots on the ground, so I know if things are bullshit or not. And P.S., the $20,000 is worth over 6 figures, and that's true, right? Brandon and I watch it. We play every day.
It's right there.
It's right at 6 figures. Not so bad. And I would have to say, most of the time it's been in 50% cash, and it's cash. It's not leveraged, so I'm doing it pretty damn responsibly. So hopefully you guys like the charts that I put up there in crypto. Some are in it, some aren't, but I put it on the note just because everyone's really interested in it. So and it works so well technically, and I consider myself a friggin' technician, right? Aren't we all technicians? And anyway, Bitcoin hasn't been where the action is lately, but Bitcoin was good to know, as it's like the head dog, and when it triggered above 4111, that told us we could put risk back on in crypto. Now it's just hanging here, and at some point I would assume it's going to get going. I don't know when. I'm not really hyper focused on it, but as long as it hangs out here and other things go nuts, I'll go nuts with the other things, right? Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Ethereum is the one making new highs. Just so I do remember, last time Ethereum led Bitcoin was, I think it's a different market, was here. Okay, this is when Bitcoin made a right shoulder and then broke, and that at this point where it was making a lower high, Ethereum was making new highs. We're just gonna watch. We don't get caught up with things. I'm just trying to be a little prudent. That last time Ethereum made its high, which we were able to see with the red dog reversal, broke the 8-day. Bitcoin was lagging. So we want to see how this develops a little bit. Either which way, I would think that now that it's above this 44, as long as it holds it, I have some offers out near 5,000 at some point. That's what I've been doing. I put offers out at night. I put bids out at night, good till cancel orders on Coinbase Pro, and I sell things. Actually the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning now is I look at my Coinbase Pro account, but I don't have it upstairs. I walk downstairs. I drink a big glass of water. I pet Cadence. I give her a treat, and I put my coffee in the thing, and I turn my sauna on, and then I sit on the chair and I look at my phone. So I try to let my brain wake up a little bit. I read that somewhere. It helps. Anyway, I was telling you guys about Sol again, saying, we bought it in here, sold some, bought some. I'm like, it's going to get through 219. I'm going to sell some up to 240. Hey, 240, look at that. That's nice. What I do find myself is in the crypto land, I'm not buying breakouts. I'm kind of seeing what the breakout is, and I'm putting offers above it, and I'm buying it kind of in the base beforehand, which is a little different than what we do in momentum trading. It's been working, but this has been great for a lot of people. Congratulations if you're in it. This dot has been awesome for us too. I don't over focus on it, but I probably should because it's been working. I remember when I was on that game with CNBC, and there was some smart crypto guy telling me I need to be long dot for October. I was like, I'll be long dot for October, and look at that nice move. I'm still in small. Man over the weekend gave us a really nice move. It's kind of hanging here, digesting. We've been in this for a while. This was Red Pup when back here when all of a sudden everyone was talking about the metaverse and NFTs. I'm like, how do you pay for these things on the internet? Like, oh, you need currency. I'm like, well, there's a place called Decentraland, and they use Mana. I'm like, okay. And so we had the first move, and then I was buying it in here, and then that happened. And now Let's see if it hangs out here above 255 to go again. I am smaller because I was buying it in here. I actually sold some up to here. I sold some up to there. And now I'm in smaller, hoping it holds this area. What am I in bigger that I think can make a move faster? I do think Matic is getting close. You know, I was very big in here. Okay, sold some. I bought some back. And now we'll see if it gets above 220. There's 285. There's a big void here. So I would think that this, you know, was acting so well not just to get there. Unless all of a sudden something happened with the crypto market. What else do I think could happen soon? ADA, you know, shook up sentiment a little bit. This was one of my biggest positions right here, and then I got stopped out of half. And now I'm back to almost the same size I had. And you know what? I lost 20 cents. I didn't care. And now, because if it goes, you have 255, you have 309. It showed relative strength way back here. Look at the size of that move. So it can move when it wants to. It could move when it wants to. Anyway, so I'm big again there. So I think that's tight. Matic's tight. I think this algo is getting tighter. So these are things that I'm accumulating. And then I'll put like a sale up here, and then I'll put a sale up there. So I'm not playing them through those points, but they're setting up. It looks like they're, you know, if these were stocks, would be getting ready to be in tier 2, tier 3. Then sushi, looking better. Okay, accumulated a bunch in here. There's nothing up until about 16 if it really wants to get going. I didn't see any news about their new NFT exchange, but I heard it was launched this week. I don't know exact date. I probably should, but either which way, got above this, held, and looks like there's a lot of room here. And it was as high as 22 before that. So there's room if that wants to. WaxP, you know, that's something that I learned about a while ago, and I told you guys at like 12 cents, and first one that I ever bought at 12 cents, and you know, on Binance, when I listed on Binance, it went to 49 cents, and then kind of moved with Mana. When it moved, went as high as 60 cents, and now I would think at some point it's going to get on Coinbase, and you know, went to 49 on from like 12, I think, when it went on Binance. So if it gets on, you know, Coinbase, I would assume this thing goes a lot higher. It's got a small market cap, I think like 700 million or something like that, and I know that they do real business here. It's not one of those fake altcoins that, you know, that people try and push. They're doing real stuff there. Shiba, I'm kind of getting, you know, I got a little weary of. You know, I did buy it on October 4th here. I didn't buy it down there. I bought it here, so I made really good money there, and then I made really good money into here, and now I'm just a little smaller. Just in case, you know, that the little thing that happened with the Squid Game thing that disappeared kind of got me on edge, that some of these things that really don't have much of a use, you don't want to be big in. So, you know, with these guys, I like, you know, actually pretty funny. I started with $3 here. I took out like 25% on that move, and I waited again, and then I took out, I think, 25% into this move, and then 25%, and now I still have about $3 right there. So that was a nice move. You know, I don't really put more than $3 to $7 behind any of these things. They're just, you know, and then I have my own little managing system when they move. And anyway, so, you know, HUT, which is, you know, something we could trade in the equity market. I think a lot of guys made a lot of money here. That's you. Congratulations. Started buying it right around here. I missed this first move, so I got this one. And today I did buy a little bit back after selling some into strength yesterday. It's still a little extended, etc. But we'll see. Riot, I lost money, and then it kind of perked back up again. I didn't go back to it, so those of you who went back to it, definitely looks like there's room there. I'm just not having much success and not in a rhythm with it. If you are, great. Overstock, some of you guys made a lot of money here too. I've listed this many times. I missed out on it. Most guys made it most here, and then look at that. Nice little bull flag and go sideways. I don't see why that won't make all-time highs. I'm in Penn options. I never buy stock into numbers. A bunch of guys think Penn is a nice value play. Some think, you know, he probably is the most popular he's ever been. And if you look at the stock, it's been frustrating. I've lost many times. So I'm like, you know what? Stock's really not priced for much. You know, it's probably having a great quarter. You've had a full football season to bet on it. People are betting on it. You have basketball season. You know, during the went as high as 142. So here around 70. I guess if it's really good, why couldn't it get above 81 or 86, or at least get to 86? If it gets to 86, we make a lot of money on the call spreads for this Friday, and then maybe for next week I have some naked ones. But if it disappoints, I'll lose my $4 or $5 grand that I put into it. I don't really risk more than $4 or $5 grand in option plays, just because, you know, they're usually hit or miss. I don't like hit or miss. I like to, you know, be calculated with singles, doubles, and some bigger winners. So we'll see. Tomorrow we'll hear from, I think 9 o'clock is when the press releases come out on companies that are going to be presenting at ASH in December. Hopefully our little guy that we've been patient with is there and has a nice presence and gets a nice move. We'll see. It's not for everyone, which we've tested 1,000 times. And we'll see what happens tomorrow post-Fed. You know, do we have the post-Fed hangover, which does happen sometimes? Hopefully not. But if it does, you know, there'll be ways to navigate all the positions and all the hedges and all the options, and we'll just keep doing it until something changes. And I think most people have to be happy, considering we've had about 14, 15 sessions above the 8-day. So I would assume a lot of people are navigating a portfolio approach in whatever their capacity is. And if that's you, congratulations. It hasn't been easy. Everybody wants to tell you all the risks about being in the stock market. Most don't tell you about the risks of not being in the stock market, which I think is riskier. You know, especially if you have to pay for kids' colleges and you have to put money away for your retirement, and especially if you make a living here. But we make a living. We're seasoned veterans. So try and let other people know how to do it. 4:51. Got to get going. Good night, guys. Thanks for tuning in.